My background's not too bad, huh? Looks kind of messy, but it's okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to share my screen before you start us live, okay?
All right.
Hold on 1 second here. Share screen. Okay.
All right, ready?
Go live.
All right.
All right. Are we live there, Mr. Newman?
Well, we're having a little bit of a problem. Hang on 1 second. We should be live.
All right. If we are live, then welcome everybody to our first meeting of 2021. We all can agree that 2021 is going to be a much better year than 2020. Although I have to say that for me, 2020 was a decent year. I was very happy with it other than being locked down. But I can say that locking myself down created some immense focus and had me doing a little more work than driving around putting 100,000 miles a year on my car. So
Well, let's make sure we are live because I'm not showing it. If somebody in our audience would just send us a message, then we'll know we're live on the chat. Oh, there we go. Colleen did it, so we're good. Sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
As I was saying, our first meeting of the year here, we're pretty excited to have none other than Tony Stasny with us, and he looks pretty cool in this picture, I got to say. I was telling him earlier today, I was like, this picture makes men want to be you and women want to be with you. You're just like an amazing looking dude in this picture. You got that cool little glass of muscle vodka there and the half scruff beard. You look like a Bond villain or something. But we have Tony on here, and Tony and I have been friends for a long time, and he's going to talk all about goal setting for 2021, because that's really the most important part about this business. We can all go around there scattered and try to buy and sell properties, buy and rent properties, or whatever it is, but without a true game plan, it makes it way more difficult. So let's go ahead and get ourselves started here. And Greater Cleveland REIA exists for networking and educational purposes. When you meet or make a connection through our on or offline networking events, it is your responsibility to do your own due diligence and make your own informed decisions on doing or not doing business with that individual or company. Although you may get advice in our group from one of our many experienced members, our vendors, or folks on the leadership team, please seek your own paid professional counsel to verify any information picked up during one of our events. In other words, please take responsibility for your own actions and your own decisions. So here's what you can expect tonight. We're going to go through and spend about a few minutes and introduce all of our vendors. And then for all of our attendees in the box, you can put all your questions in the Q&A box. And what we'll do then is we'll try to get your questions answered by either myself or Tony here today, but we can answer them all the way through as well. I want to keep all of this down to just about an hour. So by 7 o'clock, you will be back out of here and able to go on and enjoy the rest of your evening. So anything you miss will be on our Facebook page, which it says Cleveland, Ohio Real Estate, but we have changed that. I did not update our slideshow here yet, but it actually is the Greater Cleveland REIA page now. And you can also and stay networked throughout the week and the month between meetings. So let's go ahead and get started here. Beginning with the iPlan Group. The iPlan Group is a great group of custodians that will help you self-direct your IRAs and your 401ks. They're located right there in Westlake. So if you have a 401k from a job you might have lost or left and you need to roll it over and you're thinking about buying real estate or mortgages with it, you can contact Roberta at 216-337-3231. Triple D LLC, these guys do the tough stuff. As you see here, they have a house jacked up and putting a new foundation under it. They do gas lines, foundations, sewer lines, etc. Don Campbell's who you contact at 216-326-1775. MDG Flooring of America. They are the big company with the small-time prices. These guys are very, very fair, and they deal with all the drama when you're putting your flooring in. So whether you're wanting carpet or solid surface or ceramic tile, these guys are absolute rock stars at not only having the best selection you can imagine, but also competing with the pricing of the guys that are a tool belt in the truck, and they can just go out there, get it done, and give you a bill. You can call Steve at 330-304-7786. Service Soul, our own Mike Dennis. Mike Dennis has this amazing program where you can put your rehab up on this Service Sold site and go ahead and take bids on it. It's a reverse bidding system. You may say, I'm willing to pay $10,000 for this job. Someone else will do it for 9. Someone else might do it for 8. And you get to pick them, not only based off of their pricing, but also their skill sets and reviews from other investors in the group. If you're interested, please go to Service Sold. You can find them on our main Greater Cleveland RIA site, or you can call Mike Dennis at 915-400-7653. Professional eye home inspections. A lot of times we get emotionally attached to houses and we want to make a decision, and we need an extra eye, someone to give us a third independent opinion of exactly what's going on. Even if you're local, but especially if you're one of these out-of-town investors and you're in California trying to buy in Cleveland, you're going to want to call someone like Professional Eye to take a look and tell you exactly what's going on with that property you're about to purchase. Give Matt a call at 216-299-1375. Morningstar Cleanup. I just know him as old Leroy Kime. Leroy Kime has dump trailers and labor, and he will come up and pick up all the trash at the job sites, do clean outs for tenants, or do roof tear-offs and haul it all the way. Best part about it is he's using a dump trailer, so there's no dumpster for the neighbors to fill up. You can call Leroy, call or text at 330-410-8304. We have J-Dog, Junk Removal and Hauling. They are a national company that really supports our troops. Got to love that. And we have Kelly Barnes in our group there, and also has dump trailers and dumpsters and labor to haul away stuff. And there is more than enough trash for everyone to haul away here in the Cleveland market. You can give Kelly a call for all your clean outs or roof tear offs or demo jobs as well. Go ahead and call her at 330-242-3069. Preferred Security LLC. These are portable, non-contractual security systems that you can put in your flips or vacant rentals while you're trying to fill them up. What they're really good at is keeping your water tanks and furnaces from growing legs. You can give Joan Moran a call at 440-821-1037. Auction.com, it says it all. Auction.com is a national company that is really getting big and handling all the sheriff sale auctions for all the bank-owned properties and properties in foreclosure and default. You can go to auction.com, or you can call Susan over there at 216-924-0828. Fairway Mortgage, Rich Bailey, known this guy a long time, and he is the man that understands finance. Whether you're trying to finance your own investment properties, or maybe trying to finance a flip for someone that's buying your fixed up house from you, or turn your tenant into a homeowner, give Rich a call, because he's got some great programs and he knows exactly how to present this to the banks to get the job done. 330-571-2692. Russo and Ricky, Angelo and Mike over there. Guys are real estate attorneys right there in Fairview Park. And for all of your needs, whether it's contract law, evictions, trying to get the money from the state and all the money to help pay back rent, these guys can help you out. You can give them a call over there at 440-447-0331. Farmers Insurance, Mike Norris. They are not just Farmers Insurance. They are not a captive agent. They have all sorts of insurance there. These guys can help you with all your insurance needs right here in Northeast Ohio. And what's amazing about it is they actually do vacant policies. And remember, vacant policies are not easy to get. If your home is sitting vacant, or if it's a rehab project, there's special insurance you need for that. And these guys can handle it. Mike Norris at 216-831-0400. Streeter Law, David Streeter, an amazing real estate attorney, also here in the Cleveland market. And if you get in trouble with housing court or have some issues with the city, or maybe an eviction as well, these guys also handle everything. David's an amazing guy. They can get you through all of your real estate problems, whether it's land contracts, lease options, foreclosures, whatever it is. He is the real estate lawyer at 216-407-6644. We have Neil Wolf over here at the North Coast Commercial Group, because what they do is they say maybe when banks say no. And these guys do some great programs for not only hard money lending for buy, fix, and sells, but also more permanent 30-year financing for groups of investment properties and rental properties. And the wonderful part about them, they even lend to foreign nationals. So for some of those folks on the call here tonight that might be offshore that need some financing, put in some permanent financing on their investment properties here in the States, Neil can make that happen at 440-364-9954. Equity Trust, they are the 800-pound gorilla when it comes to doing the self-directed retirement accounts. Dick Desage, the founder of that company, was actually the one that interpreted the tax law, I believe, to make it possible for all of us to own property in our IRAs and 401ks. Located right here in Westlake, you can call Kent up at 323-5491. The Open Mind LLC, we have Rebecca Dotson over there. They do lots of things with turning around rental properties between tenants, finishing up the tough stuff when it comes into getting done with the construction process and you need to clean it all up, touch up a few things and get it ready to actually sell. They're great. They're reliable. I've used Rebecca personally. Wonderful to work with. You can give them a call at 216-224-2999. Specialized Trust Company, self-directed IRA custodian, Alan Brewski. Don't let that out-of-state number fool you. He is local, and they are great to work with and super easy to contact and get in touch with. I believe they have a book out as well to help you navigate your way through these self-directed IRAs and 401ks. Give Alan a call or text at 505-217-1885. And now the one we've all been waiting for is my good friend Tony Stasny. This man here has not only been a BNI director for years, he has built sales teams like crazy, pushing all kinds of all sorts of products, everywhere from air purifiers to vacation packages. He has really, really built some amazing teams over the years, and recently threw his hat in the ring. Gosh, I'd probably say 5 years ago in real estate, and became a rock star very quickly about picking up a lot of properties and really, really growing his portfolio and net worth quickly. And he did all of this through this magical thing called goals. It really is amazing. This guy here, he's a business coach. He's written a book on skyrocketing your sales. He's coached a lot of big people here in the Cleveland market, a lot of people I'm friends with, and they've helped us all kind of have, I talked about that inspector having another eye on it. It's always good to have another eye on your business and someone that can really help you see where you're trying to go, because we get so caught up sometimes in our own just minutia, and we're not following the goals and plans that we need to follow to reach our goal. So anyhow, so Tony, welcome. Let me get you here on the screen, stopping the share and get you back on here. All right. You there, sir?
Yeah, I wish I could take you everywhere I go to introduce me.
No, I could just ride around with you.
Everything except for as soon as you said he sold vacation packages. Oh, that guy.
That guy. That guy. Well, welcome, Tony. Thank you for taking the time today to come with us and help everybody plan their new year here coming up. And I like the shameless plugs for your book. I'm not sure if that's just for this webinar or you really just have this many banners and pictures of your book cover around your office.
So one of the hats that I wear is I'm a business coach, as you know. I'm a BNI director as well. So I'm in front of a group of people every 3-4 days a week. I'm in front of a different group. So this is subtle. It's a subtle way for me to promote myself, right? I don't say anything about the book, but it's everywhere I go. It's like it's everywhere. Somebody picks it up, like, oh, let me tell you about this. It's right here.
As I'm sitting in front of a Muscle Vodka banner. I didn't realize I was making a joke about you, and I didn't see the fire in my backyard for the smoking.
So, I'm honored to talk about it. I love goal setting. I love the end of the year. Almost every year between Christmas and New Year's, I always block off time, like a lot of time. Like I sit back and reflect about the people that are in my life. Do they add value to it? Do they not add value? The stuff I'm feeding my brain, is it good? The habits that I've developed, are they good habits? Are they bad? The food I've taken in, the water I take in, am I on vitamins? Like, it's really a good time to assess my life. I think it's a really good time to kind of check your life and get it back in alignment at the beginning of the year. So I love it. I sit down between Christmas and New Year's and I write my goals out. And it's you're like, you know what SMART goals are? When we talked earlier, I'm like, yeah, I forget what the hell they stand for, but I mean, I know what they mean.
Well,
so it's one thing to have a goal, but do you have a plan in place for it?
Well, exactly. I think and let's start out with asking, how do you feel people fall short with the New Year's resolutions?
They set them too high, and I do it too. It's a mental thing. I'll do it too. I'll start off by saying, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to implement this the first week of January. And then if I fail at it, the second week of January, you're like, oh, the hell with it. I just give up. But the thing is, you got to keep going. I think people give up too quick. Like they didn't hit their mark. They set their expectations for themselves too high. And I think they fall short, and then they just fail and just say the hell with it. If you ever read the book Power of Habit, it explains like it's it's all habit formation. It takes time to retrain your brain. I remember, dude, years ago, I don't know, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I went to the dentist and he I don't know what the hell it's called, scaling or something, where they like claw at your teeth with this brick. It was disgusting. I hated it. It was the most uncomfortable experience I ever had. At the end of it, I go, doctor, I go, what can I do to make sure you never do that to me again? And he said, floss your teeth. I think he even said a-hole in there. I'm sure. Floss your teeth, a-hole. Yeah. And I never did. I remember picturing my mom like yelling at me like, "Oh, floss your teeth." I'll tell you what, dude, from that moment on, I never missed a day of flossing my teeth. And the way that I did it, you forget things, right? The way that I did it, I call it anchoring, and it's from the book Power of Habit, which I strongly recommend everybody get. I just took a thing of floss and set it next to my toothbrush. I anchored that next to my toothbrush, so it was always there. When I opened up the medicine cabinet, it was always there. 3-4 years ago, I wanted to get back on multivitamins, so I set up an auto ship for multivitamins from the company that I used to work with. And the way that I remembered was two things. One, it was on auto ship, so I was getting them every month. But two, I put a fishbowl in the center of my kitchen table, and I filled that fishbowl with my multivitamins, so I never forgot. It was always there. So,
wow, yeah, that's, it's a lot of times we talk about the power of habit. That's easy to say when we're talking about, you're flossing or you're working. I say working out is probably the biggest one. Everybody, like right now is the worst time ever going back to the gym. It's like when you're in the gym, it is so crowded in there and the habit breaks off. But when we start talking about real estate, how can real estate become a habit? Like, are we talking about, trying to form a habit on making offers, on making, on marketing plans? Or is that more of when I'm saying goal, like a number-oriented goal versus a habit-oriented goal?
Well, out of all the speakers that I saw at RIA when we were in person, they all said the exact same thing. They all said create a system, create a plan, and then follow your system. So what that would look like is whatever your plan is in real estate, whatever your goal is, would be to sit down, create a plan, a daily or a weekly plan, and say, okay, every Monday at 9 a.m., I'm going to do this. And you fill in the blank of what, quote unquote, this means, but you fill in the blank on what that is at 9 a.m. every Monday. You do the same thing on, later, that whatever your plan is, you put it in place and you make sure that you have a game plan, right?
Well, you have to begin with the end in mind. And the way I do it, at least, if you're looking to do, X amount of deals a year, let's just say you're trying to do 100 deals a year.
Yeah.
So to do 100 deals a year, you're going to have to do 2 deals a week. Well, for every deal you're doing, if you're selling 2 deals a week, then you're naturally going to have to replenish those and buy 2 deals a week. So if you're doing 2 deals a week buying and then 2 deals a week selling, and that's going to get you to your number of 100, how many people do you need to talk to get those 2 deals? And to get those people to talk to, how many do you have to reach out to get those them converted to the 2 sales to meet your goal? Would you agree that's a pretty strong way of putting it?
Yeah, and it's bringing back a memory to me. When I started out in sales, it was, luckily for me, it was a product that air purifier that you brought up. It sold itself. We just let people try them for a few days. And that was it. You asked people to try them, and the goal was they would say, hey, you're not taking this thing out of my house. And I would sell it to them, right? That was the goal. And we call them placements. If I got an air purifier in your house on a 3-day trial, we would call that a placement. And I know my numbers were, because I was really bad at sales. I was horrible. I couldn't speak. I couldn't look you in the eye. I had no confidence. I couldn't recruit. I couldn't sell. I was bad. But I was a truck driver when my brother recruited me into that business. But I watched other people do it. And so my numbers were really bad. So if I placed 10 air purifiers, that means if I got 10 of those machines into houses, I would pretty much sell 2 of those. I mean, fast forward 13 years later, I was 90%, but in the beginning, I was only 20% of my placements. And I can't remember what the number was, but it took me X amount of phone calls to get the appointment that I could get that machine in the house. and then X amount of placements to get that sale. I used to have the numbers all worked out, but yeah, just relay that to real estate.
So this is a good pause point to tell anyone that's listening. Clearly, what you're going to have is you have to have KPIs. That's your key point indicators of numbers that you hit that are going to give you those results. If you're trying to lose weight, you're going to have certain caloric, burn that you're going to have to do and caloric intake to hit those certain weights. So it's the same thing with your real estate. Is take the time to write down right now how many, and forget the monetary thing. It's easy to say I want to make $1 million in real estate. That's fine. But that's where it becomes more of like the wish and not a plan or not a goal. And that's where it becomes more of, the New Year's resolution, like I'm gonna make $1 million in real estate this year. Okay, well, how? And if you can't answer how, if I wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say how you can make $1 million in real estate, then you don't really have a plan. It's just a dream you're having. So I would say, Tony, I'll give the advice that to say if you're going to do 100 deals a year and you're going to take these deals, and let's say you're going to make $10,000 a deal, that's $20,000 a week, does right around $1 million. I'm just trying to do math real quick in my head here. So if you're trying to make $10,000 a deal, you're trying to do 2 deals a week, so you have to sell 2 a week, you have to buy 2 a week. How many people you talk to? Write that down. Say, for me to get 2 properties to buy, how many offers do you have to make? And this is, I guarantee, where I think people are missing out. How many offers are you making? How many are you really making? Don't say, well, I looked at this house. People I have look at, I'm offended personally when people look at a house that I'm selling and they don't make me an offer. It's a personal, it's like, you're telling me that it's not worth, I'll buy you lunch, give me your house. I mean, maybe a stupid offer. Just let's start talking about it. So think about how many offers you're going to have to make to have that conversion ratio to actually get the contracts that you're going to need. With your wholesaling, I'm talking about buying and selling. This could also be work if you're trying to acquire more rental properties. You want to add anything to this, Tony? Monopolizing here.
No, I mean, it's all good stuff. I mean, it's all about adding value to people that are paying attention, right? I mean, and everybody's going to be different, right? Everyone's going to have a different number because everyone talks to people differently. I mean, you're a master communicator when it comes to the house. So your numbers would be a lot different than somebody that's just getting started that doesn't know much. But whatever that number is, they got to start paying attention to what their results are when they're looking for houses, right? When they're making those offers. Well, let's talk about distractions too.
Yes,
distractions are huge, and if you don't, man, I can remember going to these seminars and getting all jazzed up about what I'm going to do, whether it was real estate or whether it was air purifiers or whether it was, whatever it was. I would get all jazzed up and I'm going to do this and this and this. And then you come home and life kicks in. The wife, the kids, the job, whatever it is, everything kicks in and it takes your focus away from what you wanted to do. And again, that goes back into saying what you said earlier, is making sure you've got a plan in place. So how would you get rid of distractions? And what would be the distractions, first of all? So, I mean, I just mentioned, family is one, but what else?
Well, here's 2 things. I'm going to ask you a question because I know the answer to it already. One of the distractions right now is because of COVID, having to meet on Zoom. Because I hate to say it, but I'm quite confident that there's a lot of people on this call that have multiple monitors going on their screen that are playing on the internet over here, playing on Facebook over here, sending a text message over here. And that's where in today's society, we're talking about ADHD. I think ADHD is more of a product of our environments now than it is a product of something wrong with our minds. Think about it. Growing up, I mean, Tony and I are the same age. We had like channels 3, 5, and 8, and then 19 and 43. So there's like 5 channels, no remote control. You turn it on, whatever channel you're going to watch, you're done. You're not going to flip back and forth. It's too much work to keep getting back and forth. No cell phones, no text messaging, no email, no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no Twitter. Now, everything is dinging constantly while I'm on this call. I have text messages coming in. I have messages coming on LinkedIn. I have all these feeds. There's a million things happening. Got to get rid of that. And that's what brings me to Tony. Tony, tell me how your life changed I remember when you went Amish about a year or so ago, and you told me, I would ask you if you watch something on TV, and you go, I don't have a TV anymore, Rob. How did your life change?
It's funny. I had insulation. Jim Myers Insulation came over to insulate my house, and his his worker, his laborer was like, "Hey, that's a really nice TV you got there." And I'm like, "You want it? Take it." And it was my living room television. He started laughing. I'm like, "I'm serious. I haven't had that television on in 3 months. Get it the hell out of here." And there's a bunch of DVDs if you want them too. And he laughed. But I was serious. So he loaded up my television. I had 2 more TVs in the house. I got rid of them. I got off of Facebook. That was a New Year's resolution that I had. And I accomplished a lot, man. I mean, so I wrote the book. I had every Thursday blocked off at 1:00. Remember Sandy Steppenbacher? Remember Sandy?
Yeah.
She would meet at the Middleburg Heights Rec Center, and we would sit down, or I'm sorry, Middleburg Heights Library, and we'd spend time writing our books from 1:00 to 3:00. We'd spend time writing our books. I was in a band. I think I still am in a sense, but we wrote a lot of songs. We made a music CD. I had, what else did I do? I finished remodeling my kitchen. I wrote some programs for the Next Level Workshop and for my coaching club. My exercise went through the roof. So you accomplish so much stuff when you can block off all the noise or get rid of all the noise in your life. And the reason why I got back on, I was playing racquetball and I ripped my calf muscle, and I was down for 6 weeks. I was on crutches for 6 months, but I was laid up for 6 weeks. And I'm laying there without a television. I'm like, the hell with this. I'm getting back on Facebook, and I'm getting my television back. So I ended up buying a new TV, and the rest is history. Now there's 3 TVs back in the house again. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm still on Facebook, and people that are on there with me, they're probably smiling and laughing because I always cause trouble on there. It's such a distraction, and my ADD is through the roof, and I go deer hunt. I'm a deer hunter. When I'm out in the woods, there is no ADD. I don't have it. It doesn't exist because it's just me, nature, and God, and a gun. Me, nature, God, and a gun. The way it's supposed to be. But my mind doesn't spin. I'm not thinking of all kinds of stuff. I can sit down and I can actually plan, and I can strategize, and I can think, and I can relax and be serene. That's why I love being out in the woods, because there's no more ADHD. It's just calm and peaceful.
Well, exactly. And it goes back to, if I can offer a piece of advice here, it goes back to you bring about what you think about. And where your mind is all the time is where you're going to put your focus, and you're going to have the most results. And I always say, short of the people that are like financial investors in a lot of companies, the Warren Buffetts of the world and everything, I always say, show me a person that has 4 or 5 businesses going, and I'll show you a person that doesn't make money in any of them. Because if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm a real estate investor, and I flip cars over here, and I sell air purifiers over here, and I paint houses on the side, you're not making money in anything, because you can't focus on that many things.
Amen, bro. I can attest.
Yeah, you gotta have that. They always have that laser beam focus. And go ahead.
Remember the Next Level Workshop?
Of course, it's amazing. Yeah.
So I went to Bob Willis, who's my director for BNI. He's the executive director. I went to him with an idea. This would have been back in 2008 or 2009. It was a result of me sitting down between Christmas and New Year and coming up with an idea that didn't compete with BNI, but it enhanced BNI members, right? It was a group coaching club that I bring different speakers in that talked about something business development related each meeting. So it was once a month. It was about building relationships and setting goals. And I took that idea to Bob Willis the first week of January, and I'm like, you can be my partner. We could do this. And Bob looked at it. He's like, you know what? I got so much on my plate. I couldn't. Why don't you talk to our mutual friend David Rust, who's another business coach? And it was nothing more when I showed it to him. It was nothing more than a sheet of paper, a notebook paper like this. Do you remember that? I mean, there were times we had 120 people in that room.
Yeah.
But it was usually, on the average, we had 40 to 60 people every single month. Every month, I had members. People were making money. It was such a good program. And I'd like to share, if you could let me share the screen, the accountability worksheet that I had every member fill out at each meeting. And I can even share that, I think, in the chat
right now.
Yeah. Let me share it.
Hit share screen. Show them.
It's 6:30.
Can you guys see it? Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I go into this, the reason I brought that up about taking this to Bob Willis, years later, and it might have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, because like I said, this idea came to me, the Next Level Workshop. This idea came to me back in like 2008, 2009. Bob Willis pulls out the same sheet of paper that I took to him with the idea of the Next Level Workshop. It didn't even have a name. It just said like Group Coaching Club or something like that. And he pointed something out to me, and I just started laughing. And I go, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." He goes, "No, do you realize you brought this to life?" He goes, "You created this thing on a piece of paper in your downtime. You created this, and you made the Next Level Workshop. You actually created this." And when he explained that to me, that and put it in that light, I'm like, I'll be damned. Guys, that's the power of sitting down, blocking off time, and creating a freaking plan, and then spending time working on that plan. So this was it's called the accountability worksheet. It was a 2-part copy. I got a copy, and the member went home with a copy. So you see here, it's got the name, the group. I had 2 groups, I had one in Akron and one in Cleveland. So, and then the date, and you'd put your goal. And down here it says, how long will it take you? So what I'm doing here in this spreadsheet, this worksheet, what I'm doing here for my members is helping them create a vision of what their goal is. So what's your goal? How long is it going to take you to achieve this? Why is the goal important? Like, what's the reason why you want to achieve this goal? And then what benefit are you going to get from achieving it? Because if you can start thinking about this and visualizing this goal, you're going to start getting hungry for it, right? You're going to start getting a taste for it. And now this is important. And by the way, this is, if you look at the, if you can see the file name, this is the 6th update. There were 7 updates to this worksheet. So I kept updating it like every, I don't know, so often whenever I got a new idea. Like we added, why is the goal important? What benefits do you get? What specific steps? Like, okay, so you got your goal. Here's the reason why you want to do it. Okay, that's cool. But what steps are you going to take to get there? Like, what are your action plans for this month? What steps are you going to take? Well, I'm going to set time aside and work on this. And I got to spend so much time making this amount of phone calls and blah, blah, blah. So then the next part is, okay, when? This is where you got to time block it. Okay, you're going to spend time. It's when my clients call me and give me goals. My first question to them is, okay, so you're going to achieve this. How are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to achieve this goal, Tony, by doing this activity. That's fantastic. That's nice. That's specific. That's cool. Okay, when? When are you going to block this off in your calendar to do this? I wrote my book on Thursdays at 1:00. It's still in my calendar. That book's been written now for 3 years. It's still in my calendar. I've never taken it out. On Thursdays at 1 p.m. that it's book writing time. So what day and time are you going to spend time working on your goal? Number 5, what reward will you give yourself if you accomplish this goal? It's funny. There was another one that I added, like, what embarrassing thing would you do if you do not achieve your goal? David Rust used to do that to me when he coached me. He's like, okay, Stasny, if you don't achieve this goal that you want to hit by the end of the month, what are you going to do? And I wasn't a big Hillary Clinton fan. I'll say this was like 10 years ago.
No politics.
It doesn't matter. It's cool. But I wasn't a big fan. But so David says to me, listen, if you don't achieve your goal for the first week of the month, you have to walk around in every BNI meeting with a Hillary Clinton pin. Like, I support Hillary. And I started cracking up laughing. I'm like, you know what? You're on, man. Guess what? I hit that goal. Related to yours, like what reward would you give yourself, and what embarrassing thing would you do if you don't hit it?
Let me pause this and give a takeaway. The takeaway on that I don't know if anyone's catching this, what Tony's saying. He says in his planner every Thursday at a certain time, he has a date with himself to accomplish something. Why do we treat strangers better than we treat ourselves? Why, if you were going to go meet with your most important client ever, someone that was like, wow, someone's going to sell you a house in Bratnall for $25,000. They said, you just got to be there at 1:00. You'd spend the night around the corner to make sure you didn't oversleep to get in that driveway. At least I hope you would, because that sounds like a great deal to me. So the same thing, why do we treat ourselves differently? When you have that date for yourself to accomplish that goal, to make 5 sales calls, to go look at 5 houses, to make 10 offers, whatever it is, why would you let yourself down more than you would let a stranger down? So go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry, I just wanted to bring that back up. You're sharing a screen right now, so I don't think they would quite see that.
I was going to show my calendar that shows that it's still in there. And I'll just always keep it in there. I want to write a second book. I've actually got the outline done on it. The first one is called 52 Ways to Skyrocket Your Sales Career. The next one is going to be 52 Ways to Skyrocket Your Sales Team, which is all the stuff that I teach in BNI, like how to invite, how to recruit, stuff like that. Anyway, side note, there's my ADHD kicking in.
I apologize.
Coming back to setting your goals in this worksheet. Now, I'm a coach. I'm a business coach. I hold my clients accountable to goals set. One of my clients, she said, she was an attorney. She goes, "I'm so glad I hired you. I get so much more stuff done." And I started laughing and I go, you know what? The only thing that I do for you, is ask you what your to-do list is at the beginning of the week and then ask you if you accomplished it. And she goes, "I know, but if you didn't hold me accountable to this, none of this stuff would get done." And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Great. Continue to pay me. But you don't need a business coach. You can hold yourself accountable. There's things that you can do to hold yourself accountable. You know, there was something, I don't know if it was my own idea, if I learned it somewhere, but you know, those not Sharpie markers, but the Expo markers to use on whiteboards.
Yes.
You know, if there's something that, like my phone rings a lot, dude. So my voicemail fills up a lot. And a lot of times I don't clean it out. So my voicemail is always full. I wrote on my bathroom mirror, delete voicemails. That's all it said, delete voicemails. So every night when I'm getting ready for bed, I'm like, oh, bingo, I got to delete my voicemails. And so it's just another way to block out the distractions, right? Or a reminder. So if you've got someone in your life that you trust, crap, I just broke my watch. Darn it. If you got someone in your life that you trust, you can ask them to hold you accountable, right? Like, hey, Rob, listen, I'm trying to get this thing done. Would you do me a favor, man? Would you just hold me accountable at the end of the week? Would you just contact me and ask me if I did this? And if Rob's a good friend, he'll put it in his calendar and then call me Friday afternoon and go, "Hey, Tony, listen, you wanted to be held accountable. Did you do this?" And you won't let people down. You'll be less likely to let people down if you ask them to hold you accountable. I got a list of like 10 things to holding yourself accountable. You don't even need a coach. You can do it all on your own. Accountability is big.
Well, can I pause? I'm going to bring up accountability here. With the RIA group, that's something, the one good thing, there's always, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. There's, two sides of a coin, whatever it is, the yin and yang. It definitely hasn't been wonderful with COVID this year. It's definitely not exciting, especially for people like Tony and I that love being around people and palm pressing and interacting face to face. We love that. So, but we have been forced online, which it's working for us. It's making us more productive because we have this. But the next thing that came up that was really great for us this year is our network that's getting ready to launch. When you talk about accountability, we're RIA for years. I mean, since the beginning of time, it's always been like a once a month meeting people would always go to. And now with the network, we're going to have the opportunity. It's not like Facebook. It's different than Facebook. It's our own private network for the people that are members here of RIA, that every day there's a different type of call. One will be on landlording, one's on raising money, one's on finding properties, buy, sell, trade, technology, different things. And we're all on there and all accountable to one another, because when you're doing deals with people, if Tony says, "Hey, Rob, I'm going to talk to my guy about that house in West Park to see if we can put that deal together," it's not about me just putting my calendar to say, "Hey, I want to hold you accountable, Tony." Now, my paycheck depends on this if we're going to put a deal together and I can make money on this house. So the more you interact, not once a month, not once a week, but even once a day that you're on there and you're just interacting with one another and doing more deals, that's when the rubber hits the road. And that's one good thing that came out of all of this lockdown and more technology in our lives, is because now we can connect more easily with one another and we can stay in touch with one another and do more deals. So it has helped with that. And I think this is going to be very, very powerful when it kicks off. We're just about ready to hit the launch button on it.
Wow. Cool.
So keep
Yeah,
going.
I want to share one on here. since people can see this. This was a presentation I've done. It's a quick little PDF. It's 12 things to hold yourself accountable. I'm just going to put this on the screen. You guys can check it out. There's some cool stuff on there.
So sign a contract to make copies and give it to people. So basically, you don't want to feel stupid. If I give you a contract that, hey, Tony, I'm going to do this. This is something I do. Or joint account. All these things, all the first ones are, if I was going to hold you accountable, find a contract, give it to people. Get an accountability partner. You notice how the whole thing here, the accountability thing, going back to the early days, before business means for everything else, the church was a religion. And I'm not going to get religious on everybody. Everyone has their own beliefs, but the church was created where everyone gets together once a week and you're hanging out with like-minded people following the same belief system. And that's why some of the churches would have like revivals that get together every day, and they get together more and more because they wanted more interaction with one another. The kind of pattern here with our heads of how, we were built. So to hang around like-minded people. So when you have accountability partners and you're around like-minded people doing the exact same things, you're much more likely to meet your goals. You don't see one fat guy hanging out with a bunch of people that look like they just hopped off the Olympia stage.
Well, one of my goals back in, I don't know, through COVID, it was through the shutdown. It was through the shutdown, like in March. I was trying to build my YouTube channel, and I wanted to get to 300 subscribers. I had 6 subscribers. And then I sent like an email to people like, hey, would you like subscribe to my YouTube channel? Blah, blah, blah. And it like went from like 6 to 12. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this crap public. I'm going to post it on Facebook, LinkedIn. I said, guys, I have a 30-day goal to get to 300 300 YouTube subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel. And it went from like, because people want to help you, right? So it went from like 12 to like, I don't know, 50 or 60. And I just kept pushing and pushing. I was like days away. I was still like 50 people away. So I went to Messenger. All the people I've messaged through Messenger, like Facebook Messenger. And I think I was desperate. And so my message to everybody, you were probably one of them. Hey, I'm desperate. I have to hit this goal. You must subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. Boom. That went from like being like 50 under 300, like 250 to like 320 or something. Like I surpassed it. So my next one's going to be, I haven't made it public yet because I'm not ready to, but my next one's going to be, I want 500 subscribers. Currently, I think I'm at like 336. So, that's a subtle way for me going, hey guys, go to my YouTube channel, Anthony Stasny, and subscribe.
Well, through networking and through accountability and everything else, there's a whole formula. Just like how buying off-market properties and finding things with equity, there's a formula to it. There's a formula to that. And outside of the begging your friends to do it, you can grow very, very quickly. And we can talk off camera, and I'll show you, some things that work on that.
I had a BNI chapter. I won't say where it was, but they failed. The group had failed, and I walked in the room, and there was another coach in the room. And there were 6 members left. And I said, the coach was like, hey, how come this group failed? And I go, I don't know. I just met these people last week. I'm like, hey, why'd you guys fail? And one of the guys goes, I'll tell you right now why we failed. Nobody held us accountable. I go, what do you mean? He goes, it was an open door policy. He goes, people could come late. They could show up. They could show up late. They'd leave early. They wouldn't show up at all. People didn't pass referrals. He goes, they didn't follow the agenda. There was no accountability. And so we ended up bringing that group back to life because we zeroed in on accountability. Rob Gillespie, you were a minute late today. How come? Like, make sure you're here on time each week. That's one of the reasons why people don't like BNI, because, and I know some people hate me saying the word militant, but it is militant. And I'll tell you something, man, with 9,000 chapters in the world of BNI, it is the 1,200-pound gorilla in the room of referral groups. And it's because of the strong structure and the accountability. You remove that accountability. I mean, my role now in BNI, there's a lot of directors, there's like 12 of us in Northeast Ohio. By the way, one of the things I achieved the year that I went out, that I got rid of my televisions, I earned Director of the Year award in 2014. Out of 40 directors in the state of Ohio, I was the one that won the Director of the Year award. Was it directly attached to me getting rid of my televisions? I think so. I think it has a lot to do with it. But the thing that makes BNI successful is that strong accountability in that structure. You remove accountability and you don't get the results that you want. So
if I can just quickly recap here, we've talked a lot in circle, we've said a lot of things. you can leave this up on the screen here because I want to go over this more a little bit as we're going down. Breaking it down to its simplest form for goals is you have to be honest with yourself and say, where am I right now? Where am I exactly? If you're trying to make $1 million next year in real estate, how much did you make the previous year? And be honest with yourself. How much was it? So and then where do you want to go? And then you just have to draw that line, that plan on how to get there. And like Tony says, get rid of distractions and become disciplined. Become disciplined without distractions and have someone holding you accountable. Think of that movie, The Lord of the Rings, when, they're trying to get the ring and take it there. And they're on this journey with all the hobbits and stuff. They're all accountable, staying on the path. They didn't hop off the path and go find something else to do. They stayed on that path and kept dragging each other down there. And it's really that simple. We overcomplicate goals as people. As humans, we overcomplicate everything, I believe. So continue, Tony. I just like to add my 2 cents every minute and a half.
Well, I pretty much covered everything I wanted to. And like you said, we're kind of talking in circles. I mean, so I would say to the people that are paying attention, not the ones that are on, because a lot of them aren't paying attention, but the ones that are actually paying attention, I would say to you, what do you want to achieve this year? And if you never set a goal, if you haven't set a goal for the new year anyway, it's not too late. Do it right now. Here, I'll tell you what, schedule something in your calendar tomorrow. Make an appointment with yourself. You're going to go, I don't know, look at a property, or you're going to go meet with somebody. Meet with yourself. Schedule an hour. I would schedule maybe an hour and a half or even 2 hours of alone time. You turn your turn your telephone off, turn your computer off, your television. Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and write your goals out. Do it tonight. Do it tomorrow. But make sure you do it when there's nobody around, so there's no distractions. It was tough for me, especially this year, because of my granddaughter. She's around me a lot, so it was tough. But I did it. And I'm excited. I was excited. New Year's Day, I sat around on my.
Angelo.
What's that?
Can you, are you done sharing? We'll go back to our mugs here.
Yeah.
And Angelo had asked, he said, do you ever think that if it's always on the calendar, it's easier to ignore it?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. You know what, dude? Yeah, that it can be, but that's why you got to have the why behind it, right? I mean, I hate hearing that. I've been to so many seminars through my life. You're going to have the why, but that's why you got to have the passion for doing it. I really wanted to write my book. I really, truly wanted to do it. So I made sure that I spent that time sitting in the Middleburg Heights Library writing it. So you got to really want it.
No, you have to. The why is very important. I mean, I can tell you, I've always went to the gym. I've always liked working out and stuff. But when I was 19 years old, going on spring break, and you're going to be down there, being the cool guy in the beach, you are way more interested in that than when you get older and you have kids and stuff. Now you're just trying to stay off my 600-pound life, So you have to have a why for everything. And, if your why is, if you're trying to buy and sell properties, I know we have a lot of wholesalers in this group and a lot of people that buy and sell. If you're trying to do X amount of deals, if you're trying to, let's just say, do 12 deals, let's just say you're trying to do 12 deals, a deal a month, that if you're selling a deal a month, you absolutely, unless you have a ton of inventory and you just happen to own a bunch of houses, you have to have a new house to sell next month when you meet your goal for selling it this month. So your why is, your entire plan will fall apart if you don't go get another house. And you won't get another house if you don't make the plans to make offers. And if you have no offers to make, you're going to have to find a way to get in front of people that want to sell their house or should be selling their house. You see, you got to keep backing it up. And it's work. And a lot of people leave their 9-to-5s because they want to get into real estate because they think it's easier or because they don't want a job. But it's still work. It's just a different type of work. We all have to still do it.
I need to get with you and create a plan for real estate. I've kind of gotten out of it for a little bit. It's time I start getting back in.
Yeah. And, you're here talking about goals. And that's exactly it, is you're talking about the goals and about everything that you're trying to, accomplish. Let's talk about this. Let's kind of wrap this up. Or let's talk about actually goal setting for you on here, since you're the goal expert and I clearly understand the real estate market. How could we do this, Tony, for you for this year? If you're trying to bring, because I'll tell you guys what, This man right here is not, he came from not being in real estate, but he understood the power of goals, understood the power of a plan, understood the power of networking, and he could dig out the deals like nobody can dig out. Like he brings the deals to the table. Now don't call him because he only calls me with these things. So don't everyone else lose his number. He has no deals. But I ironically, just today I was driving through Strongsville, which is a very nice community. And there was a brick ranch we looked at there last year. And I could have bought it for, I think 96 we could have got it. He wanted 100. We would want to give him 96 or something. And I was telling my son George, like, why did we not buy that? And that was a Tony deal. He goes, that was a Tony deal. I was like, Tony brings the greatest deals. Why did we not buy that? And kicked ourselves. And it was because we didn't have our plan in place as much. It was later in the year. We got away from our goals, got more into just the day-to-day minutia, and just, I always equate it to, it's not about having the energy, it's about having the direction. And there's a lot of times that I become like a cigarette boat, like a go fast boat, those real fast ones like Miami Vice used to have. And I am full throttle. I'm 1,500 horsepower. I'm 80 miles an hour, but I took the rudder out of the water. I have no rudder. I could be going any direction. I could be going to Canada. I could be going back towards Cleveland. I don't know where I'm going. I am full throttle, though. I promise you that. So with all that,
We're the same. We're the same in two different industries. I know I'm the same way, man.
yeah, you have the energy. You have to get up and go. I'm excited every morning. We all get like that. But how can we take that excitement and how can we laser focus it? And it's easy to get off track when an airplane is flying from New York to LA, it's off course most of the time. It always has to get back on course.
Well, I just said it a minute ago. I mean, you gotta block the time off and sit down and write it out. And by the way, doesn't it sound easy? What everything I just said, it sounds easy. Like, oh, just block time off in your calendar, sit down and do it. I can't tell you how many times I've done this. I sat down and I mean to put the phone down, but it rings anyway. Right? And I look at it anyway. There was a speaker at the Next Level workshop. I can't remember who it was, and I know you remember this. I think it was Mark Rosen. I think it was. He said, it takes the average person 20 to 30 minutes to get their head back in the game, right? So if I'm sitting down and I'm writing out my goals right now, and I get a text from Rob Gillespie, and I go to ignore it. But I mean, if it just distracts me, if it's from anybody, and if I just look at this text message and click ignore or respond and come back to it, I never realized that he was right. Whoever that speaker was, he was right. It takes your head about 20 minutes, maybe 30, even 30 minutes to get back as deep in concentration as you were before you got distracted. So it's so important that when you time block, you really time block it. You shut all the noise out and sit down and put it together on a piece of paper and then take it from there. Then you plan it out from there. As far as me getting back involved in setting a plan, you and I will talk to get offline about that because I've got ideas.
Yeah, well, that's very good. And we just have to have the ideas and implement them. And there's times that Tony and I, because we're accountability partners without saying we're accountability partners, because he will say, I'm going to bring a deal in the next couple weeks, and I'll call and say, well, how are you coming along with that? What are you doing? And he can literally reach out to his network, and then all of a sudden he just pulls one out of nowhere. And it happens because he's accountable to me. He's like, well, shoot, I told Rob I was going to bring it. Then it becomes like embarrassing to have a phone call about anything for us because you're like, well, I got to talk to Rob. I got to bring him a call. I'm going to bring him a deal.
I'm more, there's people that are money driven and there's people that are recognition driven. And I'm more recognition driven than I am money. Like if I know I'm going to get a pat on the back for something, I jump through hoops and I just do. And then the result, the reward comes later for me. So I've always been that way. It's just, anyone that's ever led me needs to understand that. I told Bob Willis, he's my director. He's the guy that I have to answer to. I'm like, you lead me to the proper way. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you don't tell me to do things. You ask me if I can spend some time and work on this project or this project. And when I do, you give me an attaboy. I go, that's what makes me jump through hoops. It's not the money. If you say like, hey, I'll give you this amount of dollars if you do this, I don't care. I'm more recognition driven. Everyone's different, right? So you got to figure out what kind of gets you ticking and what gets you moving. And
self-actualization, we lie loudest when we lie to ourselves. I mean, we lie to ourselves about a lot of things sometimes, thinking like, we're perfect in certain ways or we're very good at something. And sometimes we're not. And I think that's very good that, both Tony and I laugh all the time saying it's easy to get us off focus because we have the high energy and we see rabbits and squirrels everywhere. But that's the truth though. I mean, the way you said that you can realize that it's about the pat on the back for you more than the money. And that's what people have to realize. Like, what is your why? What is your motivation? And it's easy to say money. And if you're saying money in your goal setting, like, okay, you need more money. Well, why do you need more money? It's just like when you're buying a house from someone, they say, well, I need 100,000 for this house. Well, why do you need 100,000 for this house? I have to buy a new car. You're buying a new car or used? Well, I was buying my kid a car for college. It's gonna cost me like $5,000. So really you need $5,000. You don't need 100,000. Well, yeah, I need 5,000. Okay, so maybe I could give you $5,000 and I can make payments on the rest of it. Well, yeah, that would work. So finding their reason why is the same way you got to find your reason why.
Yeah,
What do you really need the money for? Do you need $1 million? Do you need $100,000? What do you really need it for? Is it for survival because you're trying to buy a kidney on the black market? Or is it for just vanity because you're trying to buy a Ferrari? I mean, what do you really need the money for?
I developed this drug habit, so I all of a sudden have a need for a lot more money.
Let's joke about uncomfortable things. That's good. So the one thing that I'm accountable to, and I'll make the accountability, I guess, confession right now. I'm accountable to this group right now to make this the best group ever for Northeast Ohio, not just for Northeast Ohio, but for all of Ohio, and basically for all the nation for RIA groups. RIA groups have been around for a long time. I did not create RIA by any means. Real Estate Investors Association, I went to my first one back in the 90s, and it was a great group. But unfortunately, all the groups you see today, most of them are exactly like they were back in the 90s. They're the people coming in, sales pitch. Normally be a guy like Tony coming up, talking for 2 minutes, telling some stories of how he lived in a dumpster, now he lives in a mansion, and you can too. Normally it's $20,000, but for $997 you can buy it tonight. We got rid of that. We didn't want that. We wanted real people that you could really reach out to and you could talk to and you could get some insight from. And Tony can give his contact information. You're more than welcome to reach out to him directly. At the end of the call, he'll give that. And so we brought that. Now with the network that we can all get on every day and we can be a part of a community where we're all growing and buying and selling and financing and learning, because we have real-time problems in this business. Eviction laws are changing constantly. Just recently, lead-based paint inspections are going to start in the city of Cleveland this year. So you're going to get hit with lead paint inspections that you have to do lead abatement. We have a new lead abatement contractor coming into the group, and we're going to have them speak on some of the dangers of what this could do to us as landlords and flippers. So that kind of stuff doesn't wait month to month. You need instant access to those kind of things, and not on a national level, not on a level of where you're trying to showboat and say, look at me in my private jet, but real things that really hit us and really affect us and affect our bottom line. I don't need to see some guy getting into a Rolls Royce when I'm just trying to raise money to go buy a 2-family that I'm trying to resell. So that's what we've tried to bring here. So my commitment to this group is that myself and my team, which I'd be nothing without the team that's behind this group, that we are going to create an amazing group, an amazing experience for everyone this year, and amazing pricing. It's the most affordable thing on the web, I believe. And when we get back in person, so you have in person coupled with the online presence, we're all going to be unstoppable together because there's strength in numbers for sure. So Tony, is there anything else you would like to add here in our last couple of minutes here?
I put my contact information. If there's anything I can help you guys with, feel free to reach out. I'm more of a texter rather than if you send me an email, I'll get to it. But yeah, if there's anything I can help you guys with, just, let me know. What else could I say? You know what? Yeah, one more thing. I would say before you leave this call, if you're serious about, if you like the idea of setting goals for 2021, I don't expect you to sit down and write your goals out right now. But if you could at least make the appointment with yourself to sit down and set your goals, do that before you get up from whatever chair you're sitting in right now. At least put it in your calendar when you're going to sit down and do it. You got to start somewhere.
Absolutely, Tony. Thank you so much for being with us. Always a pleasure to have you on. Love having you in person. You're the most entertaining, fun guy to ever be around, especially when we're in person on stage and stuff. I know we're always in for something that is borderline offensive but fun.
I said the name Hillary Clinton and you were like this.
Yeah, not okay. No comments on any political parties. We're all in love here. So Anyhow, everybody, the one thing I want to leave you
It's
with
7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock is we held our promise to you. It's been 1 hour. We're going to wrap it up, but none of this works unless you do. Check us out on Facebook. Check out for the recordings. Look out in your email for coming up with the network coming up here next month. And we will see everyone the second Tuesday next month for our next meeting. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.